Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for making the time to participate in the meeting. Our hosts today are Trish Murray, Managing Broker for Jupiter Palm Beach Gardens, Carol Stover, Regional Vice President for our Northeast region and managing Boynton Beach and Wellington, and myself. Our guests today are Mr. Ray Mesa, our Chief Executive Officer and President, Mr. Hugh Page, Prosperity Home Mortgage, Sherry Gunther, Prosperity Home Mortgage, Kim Fritchie and Cheryl Haimoshki from FTGA, Gabby Evans from Home Services Insurance, and Saud Sadeya from American Home Shield. Sherry and Hugh, if you're in the meeting, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. It is so great to see you. Sadly, Hugh couldn't make it to the meeting this morning. He had an emergency come up, but thank goodness the rates have stabilized for now. So that's good. I hope you guys are having a great summer so far. I can't believe like it's almost back to school time. As always, I like to start off with gratitude, and I want to thank everybody for all the amazing referrals, too numerous to count right now for the sake of time, but for the closed business with our one and only Mr. Sergey Petrovsky, not only for himself personally, but also for one of his clients, Miss Laura Maher, in Wellington, Miss Carmen Getz for our North Carolina family. So don't forget, you guys, me and Hugh are licensed in all of the state of Florida. So we close transactions in Tallahassee, Punta Gorda, Pensacola, you name it. It just closed one in Tampa. And I'm personally licensed in North Carolina as well. So if you have any clients who want to buy up there, let us know. We're happy to help. And Prosperity as a whole, across the whole United States, we have loan partners to help your clients relocate anywhere. Thank you, FTGA, as always, for doing an amazing job with all our clients and getting us title back so quickly. Today, I just want to continue to beat the drum to our awesome Hometown Hero program. So this is going to help all our first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 towards down payment and closing costs. How amazing is that? So we don't really have time to go into details right now. So just call me or, Hugh, and we're happy to meet up with you to explain more. And remember, this is not just, veterans, firefighters, first responders, police officers. There's like 50 plus occupations that qualify for this program, from childcare workers to massage therapists to the trainer at your gym. So let's connect with this clientele. Let's do a lunch and learn together at their office so we can help them with the dream of home ownership, all while helping you get more transactions. Lastly, we could change the slide. Thank you, Justin. Don't forget, we have our awesome Swarm Realtor contest going on until September 2nd. Super easy to get entered. All you have to do is have a quick 15-minute meeting with yours truly or Hugh in person, and we're going to discuss your goals and how we could best complement your business. Piece of cake, right? So the 3 things that you could win. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm sorry, the last slide. Okay, so the 3 things that you can win are $2,000 to a charity of your choice, a $2,000 electronic bike, that's like the big thing right now, or $2,000 credit to the Thanks Store. And you're like, well, what is the Thanks Store? The Thanks Store is this really cool website that you could go on. You're going to have up to $2,000 to spend on closing gifts, birthday gifts, all kinds of gifts. So it's pretty amazing. So you're going to get entered to win one of those 3 things. But not only that, we're going to get entered to win too. So it's a win-win. And the icing on the cake is the office that has the most appointments is going to get $750 towards an office event. So let's have a party. Let's do this. Don't miss out. It is too easy to get entered. The time slots are booking up fast, and we're going to blink, and it's going to be Labor Day weekend. So call us after the meeting so we could get you set up And that's it for me. I love you guys. As always, I am here for your second opinions, your pre-approvals, and your random mortgage questions. I hope you have an amazing day.
And Sherry, I gotta say thank you so much for your for all your work. I keep on sending you impossible deals that have been already half wrecked or completely wrecked by another lender, and somehow you continue to perform miracles. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Kim and Cheryl, it's all yours.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Justin. Just wanted to bring up a couple things and remind everyone, if you haven't been on our website lately, it's a really great resource for both you and to recommend your customers to go to. There's a lot of forms there that will help customers, especially in the beginning stages, of what to expect that they'll need to prepare for closing, documents the seller should be pulling in advance, things the buyer shouldn't do if they're applying for a mortgage. There's some forms and checklists and some really good information. Just wanted to remind everybody to check that out and recommend that for information for your customers. And thank you, Justin. Also, we have a lot of flyers and marketing materials that we can provide to you to share with your customers for really good talking points. This is one example here about the wire fraud, tips for how to protect themselves, and just, reminding them of the common ways that people are being hacked and tricked and whatnot. So these are flyers we have that I can send to you, or I can send to Justin and the brokers that they can mail out. So we have a lot of stuff if you want to put that there. So it gives you an opportunity to bring up conversations with your customers and to give them obviously really valuable information. So that's one flyer there. And then the next one is a really good selling point is when you're meeting with your customers to remind them that they get a gift from us, Florida Title and Guarantee, after closing. Both and all sellers and all buyers that close with us, a reminder that we do pay for a year of identity theft protection for them if they sign up after closing. It's completely free and it's a fantastic gift. I recommend every time that they take advantage of it when we close. And then there's a flyer regarding that too. And I usually send this out. Most of you have seen it, but I can give it to you separately as well. I usually send it with the quote. So when you're sending your quote over, that's a flyer there that explains what that's all about and the benefit of that. And this one also, a lot of people, as you know, title insurance isn't something you're shopping for or purchasing often unless you're selling or buying a home. So a lot of people still ask, what is it? Why do I need it? This is a really great flyer for you to have to, again, go over with your customers, and it lists down 20 of the top reasons that title insurance is so important. I think this is a really great resource. If you'd like that, again, we will provide that out to you guys to have in your tool house. Reminder of our education for the remainder of August. We have two classes left, and I think they're on the next slide, Justin. What is left for the month. We have on the 16th, we've got at 1 o'clock, time management and organization ideas for real estate agents. And then on the 23rd at 1 o'clock, again, the hot spots for the FAR bar and as is contract. So just a reminder of those.
Yeah, the one on August 23rd, drop whatever you're doing. If you're getting married that day, postpone it. Attend the class.
That is a good class for sure. And just remember who you all have behind you guys. And I know that you see a lot of our faces regularly in maybe our primary offices, but always remember that we have a full team that covers both Palm Beach, Martin, and St. Lucie counties. And if you don't know any of us, you want to get to know us a little bit better, let me know. But if you know one of us out, you could get a call from Cheryl, you can get a call from Corrine, you can get a call from Lisa. So just know that there is a whole team, so that if there's anything you need at any time, one of us is available to help you guys.
And that is the fact. That is a fact. I know that.
Okay. And this is awesome. So far for 2022, we've done over $81 million and 171 transactions. So in every way we can say thank you. That is fantastic. And we are just so thankful for all the business, all the support. And I just, while I'm on that note of thank yous, I do want to recognize that those that gave us closed transactions in July. We want to reach out and say thank you to Bob Weinrack, Deborah Barata, Joe Young, Justin Rodriguez, Beth Rees, Lori Summers, and Morley Ayton in the Boca office. We've got Linda Carlton in the Wellington office, Dewey Bucco, and Melissa Ayaria in Jupiter. So thank you guys so much. That was a really wonderful July, and we are really looking fantastic and strong in August. So again, you know, we're here. If there's anything we can do, please reach out to one of us.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Justin. You're welcome.
Amazing as usual. Thank you very much. And for our next guest today, Gabby Evans. And I got to tell you guys, Gabby had to scramble and juggle meetings in order to participate. So thank you so much, Gabby. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me again. It's great seeing everyone. Just want to keep everyone updated with what's happening in the Florida homeowners market. I know our last meeting, we went over quite a bit of information. So the latest news, I'm sure everyone has heard, it has been Demotech. So I wanted to touch base on that. So what happened is that Demotech reported last week that they were planning to downgrade 17 carriers from A, exceptional, to S, substantial, or M, moderate. And that's very important because that essentially affects a lot of people, especially if they have a mortgage. Because if those carriers are downgraded, they no longer meet the requirements of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So what was going to happen is that if you found yourself being insured by one of those carriers, you would have to either find another carrier that did meet the requirements, or you would be having forced placed insurance by your lender. What happened was Citizens knew that if that did happen, many of those policies would end up with them. Citizens is already, I wouldn't say to capacity, but they're definitely being inundated with a lot of policies since we're very limited to the carriers that are writing it in Florida right now. So luckily what happened is that they did step in and they are going to have temporarily a reinsurance arrangement. So if any of those carriers are downgraded, they're stepping in so that it meets the requirements for Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac to be able to still keep those policies, and those policies or clients don't have to go out looking for another policy because they are going to be meeting the requirements. So essentially it's just a way to stop anything from getting out of control for right now with the carriers. They don't have a permanent solution yet. They are working on one. Once we know what that permanent solution is, we'll definitely let you know. As of August 1st, they did announce, Demotech announced United Property and Casualty, Weston, and FedNat have officially been downgraded. We also learned that Weston is officially insolvent, so they are leaving the state. And then Bankers announced that they're leaving the state, not because they're insolvent, but they've decided that they no longer want to do business in Florida. So we've lost yet another carrier. So that makes a total of 5 for 2022 of the carriers we've lost. And unfortunately, we don't see that there's going to be a major change based on the legislative that was passed July 1st. I know that can take anywhere between 18 to 24 months before any of that really starts making a change in the market. But so just wanted to keep everyone updated. I know that it was very scary news to hear that they were going to be downgraded, but luckily Citizens has stepped in and they have come up with a temporary solution to make sure that if that does happen, no one has to go out scrambling, trying to find other coverage for themselves. So that is pretty much the news that we've got so far. This just goes into the 5 carriers that have gone insolvent. The most recent one was Southern Fidelity. They closed out last month on the 15th. And then Weston, the most recent one to be announced just this month. And then Bankers pulling out. We still have many carriers that are not accepting new business. They're very strict with their underwriting rules right now. So that's yet another thing that we have to come across, which again, I can't stress enough to make sure that we have those 4-point inspections completed, because that's going to give us all the information we need to make sure that we can place the client or yourself with a standard carrier, or at least be able to have coverage on the policy, even if it's through Citizens at the moment. Yep. And so that is all the information. I want to thank everyone that's been reaching out to me. I'm looking forward to working with you guys. I know you've had Randy. So if you do have any questions, I'm here filling in. We haven't heard yet of anyone stepping in or being hired to cover. So if you need me, call me, text me, email me. I will get back to you the same day. If I cannot get to you or for some reason I don't have the information you need, I will let you know. I'm all about communication, so I won't leave you hanging. So please, if anything comes up, feel free to reach out. I'm here to help.
Thank you so much, Gabby. Thank you for an excellent presentation. We look forward to have you again next month. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good week.
Hey, Justin, if I can jump in, I think there was a question in the chat for Gabby. Gabby, if you can stay on. I think
Yeah, I'm
Kevin
still
had a
here.
question, and I think it's an important question. I don't know if you have the answer, but you can follow up. Kevin, you want to unmute yourself and ask the question?
Okay, can you hear me?
We can, Kevin, thanks.
Okay. I own a townhome and the roofs are covered by the HOA. I'm sorry, take that back. The roofs are covered by each individual owner. They're quads, two-story design with a flat roof, and the association handles the insurance. We were just notified that Citizens will not renew our insurance policy unless all of the roofs are replaced. So you can imagine how hard this is trying to get hundreds of townhomes all to agree, each owner to agree to replace a roof. That is not the way that I read the governor's new bill or the new law. The association is saying it applies to single family homes only. But when I read the law, it says residential. Could you provide some insight on that?
Yes, so from my understanding, it does not specify single family homes. It says residential. So a carrier cannot decline coverage based on the age of the roof. They can decline coverage if the roof does not have at least 3 to 5 years of life left, which might be the case. Is that what they're indicating, or did the cancellation just say due to age of roof or condition of roof? Did they specify?
I have requested the letter from Citizens numerous times and have not received it. The insurance company that handles this community does not return phone calls. So I don't know exactly what the letter says, but from our board, it said if it's over 15 years or older, it needs to be replaced, period.
So I'm going to jump in, Kevin and Gabby and Justin. I apologize for hijacking your meeting, Justin, but Kevin, I think this is one that maybe you want to take offline with Gabby. Gabby has a
You're
wealth
welcome
of
to call me.
information and she can absolutely follow up with you. I wanted you to ask the question so that everyone on the call can see the amount of information and resource that Gabby can bring. And as we all know, insurance is extremely important in getting your deals closed. So please keep Gabby in mind and our insurance company, because we can not only save transactions, but we can educate those customers so that they understand what they're getting into. So thank you, Kevin, for your question. Thank you, Gabby. And Justin, my apologies for hijacking your meeting.
No, thank you.
Take it
That was
away.
great. That was great. Thank you so much. Saud, it's all yours.
Well, obviously I'm not Saud, but I'm filling in for Saud today. I'm
Hi,
Tiffany.
not Saud.
Saud had another engagement to join today, but he will definitely be back with you guys next time. So we can go ahead to the next slide. As you know, we're starting to see a shift in the market, and we thought now would kind of be a good time for us to revisit our seller's coverage and the benefits of the seller's coverage to you guys. So we do offer a home warranty to cover the seller during the first 6 months that the home is listed on the market, which it can be extended up to 18 total months. And the seller would be able to utilize the warranty just as a buyer would. The seller's coverage would provide coverage for the items that are in the Shield Essential coverage, which are those major items: the AC, heat, electrical, plumbing, and water heater. One thing to note, the Shield Essential typically covers a rekey service for the buyer, which is not offered on the seller side, but it would be if a buyer were to choose a Shield Essential. So that's one thing to note there. One of the good things about the seller's coverage is, as I stated, they are protected during that listing period, but they don't pay for the seller's coverage until the home closes. The cost for that option is $75. And again, that would just be paid after the home has closed. We can actually go ahead to the next slide and I'll show you guys those specific options for coverage. As you see here, beyond what I just mentioned being covered in the seller's coverage, our plan actually includes some more coverage that was just added when we did our product enhancements back in April. So now your seller will also be covered for ceiling fans, doorbells, garage door openers, which was a huge addition to this particular plan. And it will also cover some smaller things like built-in exhaust, attic, and whole house fans. So as you see, those are major items that typically during an inspection can raise a red flag and cause a seller to have some out-of-pocket costs. So definitely when you're talking to your seller, getting those listing packets ready, make sure to offer this coverage to them. Again, they utilize that just like a buyer uses a warranty. So if they were to experience any breakdown with one of those items, they will call in, place a work order. We send out the technician for that, and we will issue a repair or replacement. Now, it is important to note as well that our seller's coverage does have a $2,000 cap during the listing period, which our buyer's coverage does not. So that was just another thing that where the seller's coverage is a little different. If you guys have questions about this, I know Saud is well versed in our seller's coverage and explaining it to you guys, as well as if you have a seller that has more questions. So always feel free to reach out to him with those questions or concerns. I think that's all he wanted me to present to you guys today. So I definitely thank you for letting me step in. And I assure you, Saud, we'll be back with you guys next time.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Hi, Carol.
Good morning again, Justin. Good to be with everyone. Justin, let's go to the next slide. I really wanted to remind everybody, we've got the condo rider and the HOA disclosure, and both documents talk about the fact that we need to provide, depending upon what side we're on, if we're on the listing side or the buy side, but we've got a role to play, regardless of what side that we're on, okay? The documents call for us to be sure that our buyer, if we're with the buyer, or if we're with our seller, we've provided to the buyer's agent the declaration of condominium, the articles of incorporation, the bylaws and rules and regulations, the year-end financials, the frequently asked questions, and all that's in bold print on the condo rider. But what sometimes is overlooked and is really super important is that what you see on your screen, the seller represents that the seller is not aware of any other special assessments that's been levied by the association or that's been reported in the minutes. Don't answer out loud, but how many of us have actually asked the seller or the listing agent, hey, I need to get a copy of those minutes from the last 12 months. That's critically important. Please don't overlook that. And the reason why I'm talking about it is, well, it was overlooked and it's never a problem until it's a problem. So please, go back, read through that condo disclosure, that condo rider, the HOA disclosure, because we don't want to forget those important things. And the minutes for the last 12 months from those meetings, doesn't matter if the seller never attended the meeting, they're still obligated to furnish them. So go back and take a read and be sure we're acting responsibly. Justin?
Well, the other thing that I wanted to mention is a couple of things I wanted to mention about the condo rider and the homeowner association rider. Receiving the condo documents is an essential part of the transaction, because while the buyer is reviewing the condo documents, the buyer has a right to cancel the transaction if they find something on the condo documents that is not to their pleasure. And another thing, this is very important for both condo and homeowner association rider. If you are working with the buyer and the buyer alone, sometimes in our over eagerness to help the transaction move along, we, from the buyer side, provide these documents to the buyer to sign, and then we send them to the seller. The problem is that it's very, very likely that you do not have all the information that is required in these documents. So we are asking our buyers to sign a half-blank document, a document that has essential information blank. Our buyer may just sign it instead of objecting, and we'll send it to the seller, and now we have an executed rider that
Hmm.
doesn't disclose anything. So when you are on the buyer side, you ask the seller representative to provide you with this document. You review this document yourself to make sure that all the required fields are filled out with information, and only then you present it to your buyer for signature and back to the seller.
Thank you, Justin. And that's a very good point. Lots of times we're receiving these documents and the numbers aren't filled in. Okay,
Right.
moving right along. Moving right along, there we go. All right, let's welcome to the Boynton Beach office, Lori Durante, and Lori is online. And Lori, we're so happy that you've joined the company, the office, and we're thrilled that you're with us this morning. Also,
Thank
having
you.
joined the Wellington office is Elizabeth Brake. So as you see the two ladies around, please welcome them to the company.
And Portia Amador for the Boca Raton team. Wonderful agent. We are very excited she's going to start working with us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be on board, and Justin has been very helpful in the sessions I've been attending.
Thank
He's a
you, Lori.
Nation.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right. For
Hello?
our guest of honor, Mr. Ray Mesa.
Good, thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Justin, but I think somebody wanted to say something, so I'm going to hold off. Someone has the mic open.
Oh, yes, and can you give me the address, please?
Okay, that's the wrong meeting.
Yes,
That is the wrong meeting. Okay, I'm going to mute everyone. Ray, you're going to have to unmute yourself, okay? Because we have a couple of mics open.
Got it. All right.
Ray, you can unmute yourself now.
Okay, well, thank you, Justin and Trish and Carol for inviting me to the to this meeting with all three of our offices. Great information. I want to congratulate. Let's see, let's start with Sherry from Prosperity Home Mortgage, Kim from Florida Title and Guarantee, Gabby from Home Services Insurance, and T. Turner from American Home Shield for wonderful presentation information. Please make sure you're reaching out to these professionals to assist you in your services to your customers. So Justin, Trish, and Carol asked me to talk a little bit about the changing market or the shifting market. I think we're all keep hearing that term thrown around, that the market is changing or that the market is shifting. I'm here to tell you that the market has changed and the market has shifted. So it's no longer something that is going to take place, but something that has actually taken place. If you look at your local statistics for the first 6 months of the year and you compare them against the last 6 months, the first 6 months of the previous year, you're going to see that transactions are down. Specifically in the month of July, transactions are down a great deal. And I share that with you because it's important to know that, you know, we have a motto or a culture that we live by in this company. And we always say that when the pie gets smaller, the table manners have to change. What do I mean by that? The transactions are going to get smaller. By the way, there's nothing any of us can do about the market. The market is what the market is. There are no good markets. There are no bad markets. There's just the market. And what's important in any market is how we react and how we adjust and how we take advantage of whatever market we happen to be in. And when there's a change in the market, there's always a great deal of opportunities. It's up to us to take advantage of those opportunities. So going back to when the pie gets smaller, the table manners have to change. What I mean by that is we need to get better at what we do every day so that we can capture a bigger share of the market, whatever that market is available in your marketplace. We have to make sure that we are honing down on our skills and that we have the best listing presentations of any realtor in the marketplace, that we are following up and we are contacting every one of our customers, past, future, and everyone that we know. So if you're prospecting 2 hours a day in 20 and 21, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to prospect 8 hours a day in 2022 if you want to hit the same numbers and if you want to hit the same success and accomplishments of 20 and 21. Those 2 years were really outliers. So what we're doing as a company, we're actually tracking 22 versus 2019. We believe that's a more normalized year than 20 and 21 for all the reasons that we know. So at the beginning of 20, we had COVID and the real estate industry went down a cliff for the first 3 months. And then when everybody realized that they could work from home and that Florida is an open place and that Florida has this great weather and unbelievable diversity and no state income tax, they rushed to Florida. And we were selling more real estate that we can list at any given time, which created a big demand on very little inventory that we had at that time, and prices just shot through the roof. I will tell you that although the market has shifted and then transactions are down, prices are still going up. Close prices are still trending up. However, that's going to change because we're looking at transactions that were put together 60 days ago or 90 days ago that are closing now, new pendings, and you're going to see it in your listings. You're going to see price reductions. If you're not already seeing them, you're going to see price reduction. By the way, if you have a listing that hasn't sold in the last 30 days, you need a price reduction on that listing. So go get them. But you'll start seeing the movement on the price point of the asking price because it really got a little bit too frosty for the consumers that are out there. So I share with you something that I shared. I had the opportunity to be in a panel just a couple of weeks ago for 1,800 realtors from the Miami Association of Realtors at the casino place. I forget the name of it. I think it's Hard Rock or something like that. And anyway, I share with everyone in that room that, I don't believe that you're going to see medium price go down. Okay, that's different from average sales price, and that's different from asking price, right? I believe medium sales price is going to stay stable and have the normal 3 to 4% increase that we experienced during the years prior to 20 and 21. 26% price increases is just absolutely not sustainable long term. So we got those numbers in 20 and 21, but 22, 23, we believe that are going to be more of a flat price and lower transactions. So what I mean by lower transactions, I mean that we need to get a bigger piece of those transactions as a company. You as sales professionals running your own business need to focus on getting a bigger piece of the pie that's available. And how you're going to do that is, like I said before, leveraging our essential businesses, leveraging our mortgage, title, insurance, and home warranty partners. Every transaction going forward is going to be a critical transaction to take it from offer to closing. We can't afford to have any of those fall through because you just don't have the abundance of transactions that we had in the last 2 years. So by utilizing our essential services and making sure that you're providing the absolute best service that anyone in the industry can provide, it's going to help you be successful even in a year where transactions are going to be down for the entire market. So keep that in mind. How do you utilize our essential services to help you make more transactions? I think it's critically important when you're consulting with sellers. So let's talk about sellers for a moment. In this environment, that you are honest and that you tell them the absolute truth. You tell them that we need to look at values, not in the rear view mirror, but out the windshield. What I mean by that, whatever closed and the prices that closed 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, that's not going to be the true value. We need to start focusing on the fact that interest rates are much higher. Need to focus on the fact that there are less buyers. There's still buyers out there. Don't get me wrong. We're still going to do transactions. There's still going to be real estate being transacted and sold and listed. However, there's going to be fewer. That means that every single one of those deals, you have to be at the top of your game to make sure that you're provided that kind of service to your sellers, making sure that their properties show immaculately to put them on the market. You can't get away anymore without even listing the property. And you got 10 offers on it. That's not here. That's gone. That was 6 months ago that was going on, not today. So you have to make sure that you are bringing that professional and that consulting service to your sellers. Now let's move on to the buyers for a moment. Right now, the best advice we can give buyers, especially the ones that need to get a mortgage, which is a large percentage of home transactions do happen with the mortgage, is that they need to focus on falling in love with the property and dating the interest rate. Sherry's going to love this one. So you marry the property, you find the property that you love, that your family is going to create great memories and that you're going to build equity in, and you date the interest rate because interest rates go up and down. And in the future, you can refinance that interest rate. So again, think about this: marry the property, date the interest rate. So that's something I think it's important to share with buyers. If they continue to pay rent, or if they continue to wait to see if prices go down, guess what? They're not going to be in a position to build any equity. So I'm always asked, when is the best time to buy? I always say, well, the best time to buy was 30 years ago. The second best time to buy is right now. That's absolutely the second best time to buy. So make sure that you're helping your buyers work through that process. That interest rates were at 3.5%, and my mother closed refinance your house at 2.5%. Great, wonderful. When I started in this industry in 1980, dating myself here a little bit, interest rates were 18%, and we were selling real estate. So 5.5%, 6%, in my opinion, is still free money compared to the fact that if you're paying rent, you're paying a lot more than that to live in a shelter. So help those buyers understand that the best time to buy is still right now. And then but by the way, real estate has always been a long-term proposition. So during that panel, one of my colleagues said that, whoever bought real estate in 20 and 21 would lose money. And I said, I totally disagree. They would only lose money if they decide to sell today. But if they hold long-term, which is what real estate is all about, is holding it long-term, they're never going to lose money. They're going to make money. And the best advice I can give to you, which was great advice that I received 40 years ago when I started in this business, do the work of selling real estate for others and listing real estate for others, because you're going to make money and a living with that. But if you really want to secure your future, make sure you're also buying real estate for yourself. Make sure that you're also investing in the industry that we own and love. Is the best advice I got 40 years ago, and I follow that advice. And I can be more grateful for the mentors who helped me through that process of investing in the industry that I work in and the industry that I make a living from. So make sure you're investing back into the business by accumulating real estate for yourself as well, if you can. So we talked about interest rates, we talked about listings. Again, one of the things that I want to share with you again, and you're going to hear a lot of negativity about the market, especially in the national news. Best advice that I can give you is turn the news off. Unsubscribe from your newspaper subscription. Don't read, don't watch the news. It's nothing but negativity. And we are in the sales industry. We cannot be negative. We cannot be in a position where we're depressed and we're thinking the world's coming to an end, because that's going to have an impact on how you interact with buyers and sellers, tenants and landlords. So make sure that you're focusing on being the voice of real estate for your market. The national news, the state news, even the local news doesn't know the market as well as you know it. And you should be the voice of real estate for the market. And quite frankly, the market, yes, transactions are down. There's less buyers. And there's still an inventory shortage. We still have an issue in this country, not just in Florida, in the entire country. We have an issue with inventory for the amount of household formation that we've seen over the last 10 years. We just don't have enough inventory. Opportunities, home builders. Those guys, those builders that wouldn't pay you a commission 9 months ago or wanted to pay you 1%, guess what? They're having the same challenges. They're having inventory, but they're not having buyers. So they're now paying full commissions to realtors. They now need you. They need us to help move their products. And that's another area for opportunity. Make sure that you are the expert in all the home building product, new construction in your market or the market that you have decided to serve and work. And make sure you're taking your buyers there, because if you don't, they're going to go there by themselves anyway. So make sure that you are the one that's presenting those new home constructions to them and registering them so that you can get paid. And like I said, they are paying now again because they need us. They need us to help them sell. And then lastly, when we compare to ourselves to the markets, not lastly, but before lastly, it reminds me of the story of the two hikers that were in the woods. And they ran up into a bear, right? So the bear is the market, right? And you're two hikers. And one hiker says to the other hiker, hey, how are we going to outrun that bear? And the other hiker says, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you. So just make sure that you are outrunning the market and the competition and not the market, because the market will be what the market is. So take advantage of that. And then from a personal standpoint, I highly recommend that you do allocate some time to not watching the news. They turn them off, and also to taking care of yourselves. I subscribe to a Live by Meds, MEDS, not medicines, not drugs, but meds. And they stand for, make sure you're taking time to meditate every day. Make sure that you are exercising to whatever level of exercise you're comfortable with. You don't have to run a marathon, but make sure your body is moving. Make sure that you have a good diet, whatever that means to you and your body and your desire for your health. Make sure you're focusing on that, and make sure you're getting plenty of sleep. So that's where the meds come from. And then just as important, because this business can be very demanding. We all know that. You guys know that. We know how tough this business can be and how demanding it is in your time. make sure you're blocking out time to spend with your family and with your loved ones. So make sure you have that balance and make sure you allocate the time for doing that. So that's my thoughts here, Justin. I enjoy the part of the meeting presentation that I really enjoy is the Q&A. I've seen some stuff coming in the chat box, so I'll let you take a look and tell me if there's any questions or anybody has a question. I'm happy to try to answer any questions you have. So this is the portion, Justin. I hope we can take a few minutes for Q&A.
Absolutely. And guys, if you want to unmute yourself, all you have to do is either click the little button or even easier, hit the space bar in your keyboard. Any questions, any comments for Ray?
Yeah, Justin, I just wanted to piggyback on something Ray said that was really, really poignant. People are, when the market shifts, they tend to just wait and see and watch. But Ray's absolutely right. There's still real estate to be sold. Marry the house, date the interest rate because it can change. And when I heard you say that, Ray, I mean, it really made a lot of sense because the properties, you know, this is where you're going to be for a long time. You're going to live there. You're not looking to flip it right now. You're looking for a place to live. So that interest rate's going to change. And historically, when the interest rates do go up, you'll see price reductions and resets. So Ray, great point. And I think agents typically have to go back and do what they weren't doing last year and the year before because they didn't have time, is spending that time on going back to past clients, reaching out, offering to do free valuations. Let me know, I'll tell you what your home's worth now. Have you decided to move? Those kind of things. You've got the time to do it. So I would definitely do as Ray says, do something different, step outside the box, spend more time doing it. And that way you won't feel the market shift as heavily as other people will. So, I mean, great advice, Ray. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Trish, and great comments and great advice on your end as well. And again, I think in addition to doing something different, whatever you were doing that makes you successful, do more of that. So do more of what makes you successful. I guess that's the key guidance here or advice is if whatever you were doing, do more of that. If you don't have a name badge today and you're not wearing your name badge everywhere you go, you are doing yourself a disservice because you're creating a secret agent in the marketplace and you don't want to be a secret agent. Make sure everybody you talk to, whether it's your dry cleaner, the bag boy at the or young girl at Publix, just let them know you're in real estate and let them know you're here to support and help anyone that they know or themselves if they have a real estate question or if they need an assistance with real estate. But promote your services and promote who you are in your market as a trusted advisor and realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Florida Realty.
Thank you so much, Ray. Excellent presentation. Excellent presentation. Any further questions for Ray? Any comments? We're getting a lot of kudos via the text message.
And remember, folks, Ray is in the thick of everything. He is on many panels and speaks regularly with the boards. And as you know, his curriculum vitae, he's very entrenched in what's going on. So if you've got questions, now's the time to ask. Ray, they're probably wanting to know what you're hearing as far as scuttlebutt about where we're going to be by the end of the year. I know I've got people in my office that are asking me to ask you, what's your feeling on the current temperature and where we're going to be by this time next year?
So you said at the end of the year or this time next year? Because those are two different.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. Both.
Crystal balls. But so I think for 2022, and again, when I say I think, what I've been able to gather from people who are a lot smarter than I am, because this is something else I'm going to give you some advice on. If you are the smartest person in the room, leave the room. You're in the wrong room. So make sure you're never the smartest person in the room. But Ivy Selman is someone that I follow. She has predicted the last two real estate downturns, specifically the 2008 financial crisis that we all, if you were in business back then, we all survived that one. And we were resilient. We were actually able to make a great deal of business during that period of time. But her comments are that we are now in the first inning of a market shift and a real estate industry, not just a housing, let's call it housing, not just resales, but home builders and the folks, everybody that makes money every time there's a real estate transaction in the first inning of a market adjustment. And if you follow baseball, you know there's 9 innings. So this is just the beginning. If July becomes a trend, if what we saw in July, which by the way, July nationally was the worst month in transactions that we have seen in the last 6 years, probably. So it was actually below 19 and 18, the July numbers that were transacted. If that's a trend, we will see us probably 10 to 15% below 2019 in transactions. Here's the good news. Average sales price is much higher than it was in 19 and that it was in 18. So that's going to help because your compensation is not based on transactions, is based on sales price, right? That's where we get our commission on sales price. So the fact that sales prices are so much higher than they were 5 years ago, that's going to be helpful in the total commission dollars. Question is, who's going to get those commission dollars, right? So a National Association of Realtors, we're now at 1.4 billion members. I predict that they're going to start losing members in 22 and 23. Because as you know, there's a very low threshold to get into this industry. So I do believe that that's going to happen because of attrition. And, as soon as we get back to a 20 or 21 year, then a lot of folks rush into the business again. But you are resilient. You are realtors that have been around for a lot longer than 2 years. And we asked that question at the board meeting with 1,800 people there. And I was kind of surprised to see how many hands went up when the question was asked, have you been in this business for 5 years or less? There was a large number, large percentage. So anyway, so Trish, to answer your question, I think if we can get to at the end of the year with 2019 transaction numbers, that would be a huge endorsement that consumer confidence hasn't, falling off a cliff. I do believe we're going to end up lower. And then for 2023, I think we'll see more of 2022. I just don't see anything happening in the horizon that 2023 would be any different than 2022. So I guess my comments are that, we're expecting a status quo from the July trend through the end of the year and potentially for 2023.
And Ray, just finally, and I'm sorry to hog, but I've got people in here that are very thankful to have you in front of them. As far as the financial stability of Berkshire Hathaway compared to some of these other large companies there's been articles in the paper that they're laying off people, that they are reducing commissions for people. Compass and William Ravis, to name a few, I know they're doing quite a few. We're in a situation where we are financially not just able to weather a storm, but we always prosper in any storm. So I think that's one of the great things about being with Berkshire Hathaway. Plus, what people do in a downturned economy is they stop the outgo. The good news about Berkshire Hathaway is that there aren't cumbersome monthly fees and things like that we charge. So I think it's a good opportunity if you're out there as a real estate agent and you know somebody that's really good at what they do, but might be a little fearful about the direction their company could be going. I think Berkshire Hathaway is probably the strongest name in real estate that you could possibly recommend to anybody. I just didn't know if you had anything to add to that, because I've been seeing a lot of those articles come out.
Yeah, and Trish, you're absolutely correct. Not probably financially, Berkshire Hathaway is the strongest company out there, not just in the real estate space, but in many other spaces, right? When you look at the holding company, Berkshire Hathaway Inc., stock shares are trading for 300,000 and change. I don't follow the stock market because I've always lost money in it. But 400,000, Justin. Okay, see, Justin's invested. So absolutely one of the strongest and a very smart company that follows the culture of integrity, of always doing the right thing, of never doing a transaction or a negotiation that someone's going to lose. If it's not a win-win, it's never a good transaction. So in my personal philosophy, I always look at whenever I'm transacting or I'm doing any kind of deals with someone, I got to make sure that it's a win-win for both parties. Because if it's only to my side and not to the other side, that's not going to last. That's not going to be a good feeling, and vice versa. So again, to your point, but to BHHS Florida Realty, the company that I'm responsible for, that one that we all operate in, we've always operated a very disciplined company with cadence, and we make adjustments depending on what the market requires. And we're always trying to figure out, and that's part of my responsibility, is to try to figure out how can I stay ahead of the trends so that we can make those adjustments, both, to take advantage of a positive trend or to not only survive, but to succeed in a downward market. So it's a fluid thing. Most of the articles you've read is about companies that are highly leveraged. You mentioned one, and I don't like to talk bad about competitors or colleagues, but if you're highly leveraged and you have a lot of debt, you're going to have a tough time in an environment where transactions are down and revenue is down. Because those lenders, those people that you owe money to, or those entities, want to get paid, and they want to get paid with interest. And typically anyone that lends money for a real estate operation, resale, is going to lend it at a very high interest because there's a lot of risk that's associated with that. I think most of the terminations you've seen has been in the mortgage space because, they went from companies that just focus on refinancing, and that obviously with interest rates going up, that refinancing business disappeared. And those companies are shedding a lot of employees and team members. Great news about Prosperity Home Mortgage. The resale or the purchase transaction was always and will always be the priority, not refinance. So we're in a great position with Prosperity to continue moving forward and providing the services that our customers are accustomed to and that you're accustomed to without having any impact. But back to Berkshire Hathaway, I think at the end of the presentation, Justin has a slide from Mr. Buffett himself and a quote. So I'll leave that for Justin to close the meeting with. But thank you, Trish, for your questions. And if you have any questions for me, I take pride that we run a flat company. I think Kevin and others on this call that have known me for years will tell you that you can pick up the phone and call me. There is no hierarchy here. We run a flat company. You have a question, you have an idea, call me, text me, email me, whatever is convenient for you, your preferred mode of communications. And I guarantee you that I will respond to you by the end of that day when I get your question or comment or idea. So don't hesitate to reach out, and don't wait for one of these meetings. I'm always available. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Trish. Thank you, everyone. I'll stay on for the essential reminders.
Thank you so much. This was amazing.
Back to you, Justin.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray. So we're going to share my screen again and go. So this is our essential reminders.
Hey, Justin, can you leave the screen up real quick just for a moment? Hey, team,
Absolutely.
I want to give you an advice that I need to follow myself. Can you go back to the previous screen? The one with my headshot?
Sure, no problem. Give me 1
Thank
second.
you. I just want to make a point here because I think it's important that I communicate this to you, and I need to live by what I say. Make sure you have a current picture of yourself and everything you do. So this just reminded me I got to get a new headshot. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. Make sure that whatever you're providing to consumers, whether it's business cards or emails or websites or whatever it is, if there's a photo of you, make sure it's a current photo of you. Thank you, Justin.
You got it. I got to do the same thing, and soon. All right, our essential reminders. And as you know, the essential reminders are essential because this address stuff that is happening in our offices very recently. Okay, so number one, MLS rules. If you are getting a little bit rusty with MLS rules and regulations, I strongly encourage you to go to your association website, download the rules and regulations, and read them. MLS rules are there for a purpose. They preserve the integrity of the database and also help your colleagues and yourself to present accurate information. One of the newest changes is that images cannot be removed from a listing without express authorization from the MLS. So be very careful about that. It's the same thing for information. I know the Berkshire Hathaway agents never do this. This was addressing actually bad practices from other people, but keep it in mind. Photos cannot be removed without express authorization from the MLS. It's the same thing with information from there. When the transaction changes status, when the transaction goes from active, considering all offers, to pending, we accepted an offer, that has to be reflected on the MLS immediately. Not tomorrow, not I'll get to it, no, immediately. And another thing, and I'm mentioning this because of a conversation that I had with another local broker, is that if your customer, your seller, asks you to do something that is against the rules and regulations of the MLS, you need to follow MLS rules and regulations, and it is your responsibility to explain why to the consumer, but the consumer cannot tell you, well, I want you to keep the listing active because no, we have to follow MLS rules and regulations to the letter. Okay, contact information, for example, on a listing, on the public remarks that will go to realtor.com, to CLO, the public information that will go to every single website that displays listings. No contact information whatsoever, no phone numbers, no links. You get the idea. And the MLS departments of all the associations in the state of Florida are scrubbing the database for violations, and they are assessing fines. They are not out to get fines. They're not out to punish you. But if they send you a warning and the warning is disregarded, then you will get a fine. And some of those fines can be pretty hefty, up to $500 for just forgetting that you cannot put a phone number on the remarks. So be familiar with MLS rules and regulations. It will help your colleagues, it will help you, and it will keep you out of getting a nasty fine. Next reminder, this is very important. Wire transfer should be your first option for all transactions. First option, nothing else. If wire transfer for some reason are not possible, and you would have to tell me why it's not possible, because I haven't come across a situation like that. But if wire transfer is not an option, then use cashier's checks. I'm going to tell you what the problem is with personal checks. Personal checks can be perfectly fine, but the thing is that there is a mandatory period, a wait to clear period, okay? And if we get the personal check, let's say 5 days before we have to show that we have the funds, well, there is a 10-day period. There's absolutely nothing that we can do. This is federal financial regulations. And personal checks from an out-of-state bank, the waiting period can be up to 20 days. Now you see why personal checks are a very bad idea. So try to avoid personal checks like the plague. Wire transfers first. If wire transfers are not possible, then a cashier check, which is possible pretty much anywhere. The required documents are there to protect you, to protect your customer. It completely shields you and your customer from any potential liabilities. And we make it very easy for you. We create checklists, we create packages for simplicity, so you never forget about a required document. So when you are creating a transaction, do not cut corners. And seriously, there is no reason for it, because your office has created packages with all the required information. It is a matter of literally of 3 clicks to start a transaction with all the required documents involved. So if you love Tracy in Jupiter, and you should, because she's awesome. If you love Lori in Boynton, and you should, because she's amazing. If you love Vivian and Jessica at the Boca Raton office, please, when you send us a package with documentation, make sure that all the required documentation is there, initial, signed, and dated. Not only we really cannot proceed with the transaction if any of this is missing, it also, it stops the wheels from working. So something that should take somewhere between 2 and 5 minutes to put together, now it will take your admin at the office maybe 2 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. Yes, and this affects everyone in the office. So please make yourself that you are familiar with the office packages, and for simplicity, make sure that you use the checklist of essential documents. And if you have any questions about what's essential or not, contact your managing broker. We are available 7 days a week. Let us know. This example that I have on the screen is one of the checklists that I use in my office. Your offices have other checklists just like this one. They're excellent, helps to remind you what's required and what may be required in a transaction. Next one, and this one is pretty cool. Referrals, 2 things about referrals. First, for you to submit a referral is the easiest thing in the world. It's just you click on the link for referrals, you fill in the basic information, and out it goes anywhere. Do you have a referral in California? Yeah, we can take care of that. Massachusetts? Absolutely. New York? You know it. So, for example, in my email signatures, when I send you any email whatsoever, I have a whole bunch of links, and the referral link is right there. Otherwise, you have the link on our intranet. And otherwise, you can just pick up the phone and text your managing broker and says, hey, can you send me the link for referrals? Send it, save it in your favorites. Referrals are an amazing source of business, and we make it incredibly easy. Any questions about that? Let me know. Let your managing broker know. Our relocation coordinator is Monica McBride. Her phone number is right on the screen. If you don't have it on your speed dial, you want to have the number too. Next reminder. So sometimes we don't like to, but sometimes in order to save the transaction, we have to surrender control of title. Yes. For example, let's say that you're in Palm Beach and the cooperating agent, the listing agent tells you in Palm Beach, the seller chooses the title. Okay, fine. If you need to surrender it, no problem. We'll give him control of title. But remember that when we have to surrender control of title, you have to keep on top of it. There's an extra burden on you. I understand that, but it's our responsibility. So you need to coordinate with the title company as well as you can, as insistently as you can. We need to know all the information, and you need to know whether that title company has all the information that they need. You have to call them, you have to text them, you have to email them, be on top of them, and you have to let us know what's going on. If there is a change on the closing date, do not assume that that title company that we have to work with is going to tell us. If it's FTGA, yes, of course. But if it's another title company, they may never tell us. Do not assume that they will read our closing instructions accurately. We have problems with that all the time when we have to surrender control to titlerecords.com, right? So it is your responsibility to keep on top of that. And if you have any doubts, you contact your managing broker and we'll help you with that. So we understand the reality of the market. We understand that sometimes we have no other option, but when somebody else, other than FTGA, is running title, it is on you to keep us posted of any changes, and it is on you to coordinate with titlerecords.com so they don't mess up the transaction for us. One thing that Ray was saying that really resonates with me is that when the market shifts, Berkshire Hathaway agents are so much more well prepared to deal with it. Not only we are a true non-competing brokerage, not only we are a full support brokerage, we also provide an array of tools that is literally mind-boggling. Use our premium tools. This is the leverage that is going to allow you to cut through the competition. Our premium tools are unbelievable. These are tools that if you had to pay for them on your own, we will be talking about tens of thousands of dollars a year, and you have free and complete access to them. Learn Center resources like having your own Realtor University online available 24/7. Marketing resource is absolutely unbelievable. You have close to 4,000 templates, which actually become an infinite number of templates because you have generic templates that you can use your own graphics in. Social media resource will take care of posting every single day quality material on your social media. Use our premium tools, agent icon, have it on your quick dial. So every time you see an image, it doesn't have to be one of your listings. It can be a selfie. It can be a beautiful sunset. You see a cool image, you take a picture, and within seconds, you made out of the picture a marketing item for you to work with. So use our premium tools. If you have questions about this, the strongest recommendation I can give you is go to YouTube and watch the latest Impact Day video. Impact Day covers all of our tools. It's an amazing video. And otherwise, call Trish, call Carol, call me. I will give you a refresher of all our tools, but use them. These are the tools that set you apart from everyone else in the industry. Next one. This one I owe to Loris Carnecchia from the Boca Raton office. And one time we were talking about something that actually happened, and she said something that I thought was absolutely brilliant. She was telling me about a situation in which a sales professional from another brokerage was at a property, showing the property, and just spent pretty much the whole time saying negative things about the property. Well, the interesting thing is that the listing agent didn't realize there were cameras with microphones all over the house. And the seller was listening to all this. So what Lori tells me, and I thought it was brilliant, is we always have to act as if we were on camera, live, and the whole world was looking at us. Self-awareness, this is super important. We cannot predict how a turn of phrase, something that we say, a gesture will be interpreted. So we have to guide our behavior by our values, our Berkshire Hathaway values, which are integrity, stability, longevity, and the highest standards of work, the highest standards of work. I would like to close the meeting with a quotation from this gentleman that you may have heard of. And he said, I would want to be associated with someone where the financial strength was unquestioned and where the name stood for integrity. What other quality would you want that Berkshire Hathaway Home Services does not have? And I don't think you can find one. Thank you very much. Thank you, Trish, Carol, Ray, Gabby, Sherry, Mrs. Turner, and all of you that show up to the meeting. I love you all. Stay safe, and I'll see you next month.
Thank you all.